Leadership Unpacked. I'm Hannah Halley, and today we're diving into an important but often uncomfortable topic: navigating conflict. Conflict is an inevitable part of any team environment, but how we handle it can make all the difference. Addressed constructively, conflict can actually lead to innovation, stronger relationships, and better decision-making. Today we'll draw insights from Crucial Conversations by Kerry Patterson and colleagues. This book offers powerful tools for handling high-stakes conversations with empathy, clarity, and confidence. We'll also look at how companies like Pixar, Netflix, and Ben & Jerry's create a culture of open communication to navigate conflict constructively. By the end of this episode, you'll have practical strategies to help you address conflict head-on and build a stronger, more collaborative team. Let's start by rethinking our approach to conflict. Conflict is often viewed as something negative, uncomfortable, or even damaging, so it's tempting to avoid it altogether. But as Crucial Conversations points out, conflict, when managed effectively, can actually be a powerful growth opportunity. By approaching disagreements with a positive mindset, leaders can turn potential obstacles into pathways for innovation and stronger relationships. When we view conflict as a difference of perspectives rather than a problem, it becomes an opportunity to gain new insights, consider fresh ideas, and strengthen connections within the team. Conflict handled constructively allows us to address issues transparently, build trust, and encourage open dialogue. Leaders who embrace this approach create a culture where everyone feels heard, valued, and motivated to contribute to solutions. One excellent example of turning conflict into a growth opportunity is Pixar's Brain Trust meetings. At Pixar, the creative process is fueled by regular feedback sessions where directors and producers present their work in progress to a trusted group of colleagues. This group, known as the Brain Trust, is encouraged to offer honest, unfiltered feedback on the projects. These sessions can get intense. Team members may disagree on creative choices, pacing, or character development. But at Pixar, this conflict is seen as essential to the creative process. Rather than viewing disagreements as personal criticism, team members see it as a way to make the film the best it can be. The Brain Trust creates a culture where people aren't afraid to share differing perspectives because they know it will ultimately lead to a stronger, more refined product. Pixar's films are known for their depth and attention to detail, and much of that can be attributed to the culture of constructive conflict fostered in these Brain Trust meetings. Pixar's approach shows us that when conflict is framed as part of a constructive process, it encourages openness and creativity. By turning conflict into a tool for improvement rather than a personal attack, Pixar has built a creative culture where people feel safe to challenge ideas, suggest alternatives, and ultimately produce outstanding results. For a small business example, let's look at Zingerman's Deli in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Known for its high-quality food and exceptional customer service, Zingerman's is also known for its open and collaborative culture. Zingerman's founders, Ari Weinzweig and Paul Saginaw, emphasize the importance of open dialogue and transparency, even when it leads to conflict. They encourage employees to voice their opinions, ask questions, and challenge decisions openly, creating an environment where everyone's perspective is valued. When conflict arises, whether it's about a new menu item, a change in operations, or a customer service issue, team members are encouraged to address it directly rather than letting it simmer. They've implemented a practice called open book management, which involves sharing financials, goals, and challenges with the entire team. By treating every employee as a partner and giving them access to the company's key information, Zingerman's fosters a culture of ownership where employees feel comfortable engaging in tough conversations. In one instance, Zingerman's experienced a disagreement over adding a popular but resource-intensive dish to the menu. Rather than dismissing concerns, management invited employees into the discussion, weighing the pros and cons collectively. This approach not only resolved the immediate issue, but also reinforced a culture of respect, where every team member feels invested in the deli's success. If you're leading a small team, consider creating structured opportunities for open dialogue. This could be a regular meeting where team members can voice any concerns or suggest changes. When you build a culture where everyone feels comfortable sharing their perspective, you're able to address conflicts early on, often before they escalate. Both Pixar and Zingerman's show us that conflict doesn't have to be divisive. Instead, when approached as a creative challenge, conflict can lead to better solutions, innovative ideas, and stronger team cohesion. By framing disagreements as differences in perspective, we make room for collaboration rather than competition. One of the most effective ways to use conflict constructively is by staying focused on the problem rather than the person. When we keep the conversation centered around solving the issue rather than assigning blame, it encourages everyone to contribute without feeling attacked or defensive. Another great example of constructive conflict in action is Toyota's quality circles. At Toyota, frontline employees are encouraged to participate in quality circles where they can discuss process issues, suggest improvements, and challenge existing practices. These circles create a structured environment where employees are empowered to raise concerns and work collaboratively to find solutions. This culture of openness and shared problem solving allows Toyota to maintain high standards and continuously improve. For example, if an assembly line worker notices a recurring issue with a specific part, they're encouraged to bring it up in a quality circle. The team then brainstorms solutions together, addressing the conflict constructively and keeping the focus on quality improvement rather than assigning blame. This practice not only resolves immediate issues, but also strengthens team morale as employees feel their insights are valued and their voices matter. To create a similar structure in your team, consider setting up regular feedback sessions or brainstorming meetings focused on improvement. Let your team know that they have the freedom to share ideas, even if they're critical of existing processes. By framing these discussions around problem solving, you turn potential conflicts into opportunities for growth. For a smaller business perspective, Fireclay Tile is a mission-driven tile manufacturer known for its strong culture of collaboration and quality. At Fireclay, team members are encouraged to speak up when they see an opportunity for improvement, even if it means challenging an established process. This openness is especially important when it comes to sustainability, as Fireclay constantly looks for ways to reduce waste and source materials responsibly. Recently, Fireclay faced an internal debate over changing a manufacturing process to make it more environmentally friendly, which would also increase production costs. Instead of avoiding the conversation or dismissing concerns, Fireclay's leadership invited employees from different departments to weigh in on the decision. By engaging the team in a transparent discussion, they found a compromise that improved sustainability while managing costs. This experience strengthened their commitment to quality and teamwork, turning a potential conflict into a unifying moment. For smaller teams, creating an environment where everyone feels comfortable voicing concerns can turn potential conflicts into productive conversations. Encourage team members to bring up their ideas or concerns in team meetings and reinforce that their input is valued, especially if it leads to improvements. To sum up, approaching conflict as a growth opportunity can lead to better problem solving, innovation, and stronger relationships within your team. Pixar's Brain Trust meetings, Zingerman's open dialogue, Toyota's quality circles, and Fireclay Tile's collaborative approach all demonstrate how constructive conflict can improve results and build a more engaged team. By viewing conflict as a chance to learn and grow, you create a culture where team members feel valued and motivated to share their perspectives. To sum up, approaching conflict as a growth opportunity can lead to better problem solving, innovation, and stronger relationships within your team. Pixar's Brain Trust meetings, Zingerman's open dialogue, Toyota's quality circles, and Fireclay Tile's collaborative approach all demonstrate how constructive conflict can improve results and build a more engaged team. By viewing conflict as a chance to learn and grow, you create a culture where team members feel valued and motivated to share their perspectives. Next, we're diving into building a foundation of psychological safety, so your team feels comfortable bringing up issues and addressing conflicts constructively. Stay tuned as we continue our journey through effective conflict resolution strategies. To address conflict effectively, a critical first step is building psychological safety within your team. Psychological safety means creating a work environment where people feel safe to speak up, share ideas, and discuss concerns without fear of embarrassment, retribution, or judgment. In a psychologically safe environment, team members know that their input is valued and that they won't be penalized for taking risks or expressing differing viewpoints. In crucial conversations, the authors stress that people are more willing to engage in difficult conversations when they feel respected and valued. Leaders play a key role in establishing psychological safety by modeling open communication, inviting feedback, and showing empathy. When psychological safety is present, teams can address issues directly, resolve conflicts constructively, and work together more effectively. One well-known example of psychological safety in action is Netflix's culture of honesty and transparency. At Netflix, employees are encouraged to give and receive feedback openly at every level of the company. Netflix's no surprises policy means that difficult conversations happen directly and promptly rather than being delayed or avoided. Leaders at Netflix are transparent with employees about both successes and challenges, inviting them to be part of the conversation. By promoting honesty and openness, Netflix creates an environment where employees feel safe addressing issues as they arise. This psychological safety not only allows conflicts to be resolved before they escalate, but also fosters a culture of continuous improvement. Employees know they can share ideas and feedback, even if it's critical, without fear of backlash. This approach has led to a high level of accountability and innovation as people feel secure enough to take creative risks. Netflix's example shows that psychological safety isn't just about being polite, it's about encouraging directness and transparency. By promoting open feedback and removing the fear of negative consequences, Netflix has created a culture where people feel valued and engaged. When employees know they can speak up without judgment, they're more likely to bring up issues proactively, leading to better problem solving. For a small business example, Basecamp, a project management software company, is known for its supportive and non-judgmental culture. Basecamp's leaders have established an environment where employees are encouraged to bring up any issues, concerns, or ideas. They hold regular heartbeat check-ins, where team members discuss what's on their minds, whether it's related to work, teamwork, or company culture. Basecamp also has a library rule, which encourages quiet, uninterrupted work, but ensures that open, thoughtful conversations happen when needed. Employees are trusted to address any frustrations or conflicts directly in these sessions, knowing that their input is welcomed and respected. The result is a supportive team where people feel safe, bringing up even difficult topics, fostering trust and open communication. For smaller teams, creating a regular check-in or a safe space meeting can encourage open dialogue and psychological safety. Invite your team to discuss any work-related or interpersonal challenges in a judgment-free environment. When team members feel safe to address issues early on, conflicts are more likely to be resolved constructively before they become larger problems. Psychological safety begins with leaders. Leaders set the tone for how openly team members feel they can communicate, especially when it comes to tough conversations. Leaders who model openness, admit their own mistakes, and welcome honest feedback show the team that vulnerability is valued. When leaders are approachable and responsive to feedback, they create an environment where others feel safe to express their thoughts. Remember, psychological safety doesn't mean avoiding conflict. It's about creating a space where conflict can be addressed constructively. This approach fosters a proactive team dynamic where everyone is willing to bring up and tackle issues head-on. A well-known study on psychological safety is Google's Project Aristotle, a multi-year research project that analysed what makes a team effective. After studying hundreds of Google teams, researchers found that psychological safety was the #1 predictor of a team's success. Teams with high psychological safety were more likely to take risks, admit mistakes, and address conflicts constructively. At Google, team members know they won't be ridiculed or blamed for sharing ideas or making mistakes. This openness encourages people to be honest about challenges, ask questions, and bring up issues they might otherwise avoid. The presence of psychological safety at Google has allowed teams to thrive as members feel empowered to innovate, collaborate, and improve continuously. To build psychological safety in your team, start by acknowledging and modeling vulnerability. Share your own experiences and challenges openly, and make it clear that you value honesty over perfection. When team members see that you're willing to be open, they're more likely to feel comfortable bringing their own ideas and concerns to the table. Think of psychological safety like a life jacket. No one wants to jump into the deep end without one. When you create a safe environment, everyone feels ready to dive into tough conversations, knowing they're supported. A smaller business that embodies psychological safety is Fire Clay Tile, a California-based company focused on sustainable tile production. At Fire Clay, employees are encouraged to voice their ideas, concerns, and questions openly. Fire Clay practices open book management, meaning employees have access to the company's financials, goals, and operational challenges. This transparency fosters a culture where people feel trusted and informed. For instance, if a team member disagrees with a decision or has a suggestion for improvement, they're encouraged to bring it up in team meetings. Leadership openly discusses both positive and challenging updates, which helps employees feel like active contributors rather than just bystanders. This transparency makes team members feel valued and fosters a sense of ownership over the company's mission. For smaller teams, open book management or regular updates on the company's goals and challenges can help create a culture of trust and psychological safety. When people feel trusted with key information, they're more likely to engage openly in discussions and address issues constructively. In summary, building a foundation of psychological safety allows team members to feel comfortable addressing conflict and sharing ideas without fear of judgment. Netflix's honesty and transparency, Basecamp's supportive heartbeat check-ins, Google's high-performing teams, and Fireclay Tile's open book management all show us that when people feel safe to communicate, conflicts are resolved more constructively and teams work better together. Now we'll explore how to approach conflict with empathy and curiosity, turning difficult conversations into opportunities for understanding and collaboration. Stick around as we continue our journey through effective conflict resolution strategies. One of the most powerful tools in navigating conflict is approaching it with empathy and curiosity. In Crucial Conversations, the authors emphasize that empathy and curiosity help us break through the barriers of defensiveness and misunderstandings that often accompany conflict. When we genuinely seek to understand the other person's perspective, we create a pathway for open dialogue, even if we don't ultimately agree. When conflict arises, instead of trying to win the argument or defend your own viewpoint, start by listening actively and asking open-ended questions. This approach allows you to understand the core issues and shows the other person that their perspective is valued. By leading with empathy and curiosity, we can keep conversations respectful and focused on finding solutions rather than fueling frustration. An example of using empathy and curiosity in conflict resolution is Ben & Jerry's. Known for its socially conscious values, Ben & Jerry's has cultivated a culture where employees are encouraged to voice their opinions openly, especially when it comes to the company's social and environmental initiatives. Leaders at Ben & Jerry's recognize that these issues can be deeply personal, so they encourage empathy and collaboration in decision-making. For instance, when Ben & Jerry's wanted to publicly support a social cause, there was internal debate about how this would affect the brand's image and customer base. Instead of pushing a unilateral decision, the leadership team brought employees into the conversation. They listened to various perspectives, asked open-ended questions, and empathized with different viewpoints, understanding that people felt passionate about the issue. By approaching the discussion with curiosity and empathy, they reached a consensus that respected both the company's values and the employees' concerns. Ben & Jerry's approach demonstrates that empathy and curiosity aren't just nice-to-haves in conflict, they're essential tools. By seeking to understand different perspectives, they not only made a better decision, but also strengthened their team's cohesion and commitment to the brand's mission. For a small business example, let's look at Happy Earth Apparel, a sustainable clothing brand that focuses on ethical production and environmental activism. The founders of Happy Earth Apparel are deeply committed to their mission, and they encourage their team to voice concerns openly, whether it's about product sourcing, marketing strategies, or work-life balance. Recently, the team faced internal disagreement over expanding product lines, with some team members worried that rapid growth might compromise their sustainable practices. Instead of pushing a decision, Happy Earth's leaders invited team members to share their concerns and ask questions about the potential impact of the expansion. By approaching the discussion with empathy and curiosity, they reached a solution that aligned with their values and satisfied everyone's concerns. If you're leading a small team, approach conflict by setting up a dedicated time to listen, ask questions, and understand everyone's concerns. Use open-ended questions like, "What do you think is most important here?" or "How do you feel about this approach?" By inviting everyone's perspective, you create a collaborative environment where conflicts can be resolved constructively. Empathy isn't just about listening, it's about truly hearing what the other person is saying and showing that you understand. Active listening is a technique that helps leaders stay focused on the speaker without interrupting or planning a rebuttal. Instead, it involves asking clarifying questions, summarizing what you've heard, and validating the other person's feelings. This approach builds trust and shows that you're genuinely interested in finding a resolution. In crucial conversations, the authors suggest asking yourself questions like, "What do I really want for this relationship?" and "What do I want for this person?" These questions help you approach the conversation with empathy, focusing on understanding rather than defending your own viewpoint. At Microsoft, CEO Satya Nadella has been a champion of empathy in leadership. When Nadella took over, he made empathy a core part of Microsoft's culture shift. One of his priorities was to listen actively and understand the needs and concerns of both employees and customers, making empathy a cornerstone of decision-making. For example, Nadella has emphasized the importance of understanding customer needs deeply, which has helped Microsoft improve its products and services. By promoting a culture where leaders listen actively to employee and customer feedback, Microsoft has fostered an environment where people feel comfortable bringing up concerns. Nadella's empathy-first approach has contributed to a more collaborative, innovative, and resilient Microsoft. To practice active listening, try repeating back or summarizing what the other person has said and ask questions to clarify. For example, you could say, "So what I'm hearing is," or "Could you tell me more about?" These small steps help the other person feel understood and create a foundation for a more productive conversation. Buffer, a social media management company, is known for its transparent and open culture, where team members are encouraged to bring their full selves to work. Conflict is seen as a chance to gain insight into how people are feeling, and empathy and curiosity are built into Buffer's culture of feedback. At Buffer, when team members have a disagreement, they use structured feedback sessions to discuss their perspectives openly. The company uses a feedback tool where employees are encouraged to provide start, stop, continue feedback, a method where people can express what they'd like someone to start, stop, or continue doing. This approach helps keep conversations constructive and focused on understanding one another's needs and improving team dynamics. For smaller teams, using a structured feedback format like start, stop, continue can help keep conversations focused and constructive. It provides a simple way to give feedback while promoting empathy and understanding. When people know that feedback is intended to help, they're more open to receiving it and working towards solutions. In summary, approaching conflict with empathy and curiosity allows us to see issues from new perspectives and find solutions together. Ben & Jerry's collaborative decision-making, Happy Earth Apparel's empathetic leadership, Microsoft's empathy-focused culture, and Buffer's transparent feedback approach all show us that when we're genuinely interested in understanding each other, we build stronger, more trusting relationships. By making empathy and curiosity a habit, we create a culture where people feel heard and valued, even in difficult conversations. Now we'll discuss the importance of using constructive language and finding common ground to keep conflict resolution respectful and solution-focused. Stay tuned as we continue exploring these effective conflict resolution strategies. When it comes to navigating conflict effectively, the language we use can make a huge difference. Crucial Conversations emphasizes the importance of using constructive, non-blaming language to keep the conversation respectful, focused, and solution-oriented. Words are powerful. They can either build bridges or erect walls. In conflict situations, it's easy to fall into accusatory language or to express frustration in a way that could make the other person defensive. But when we use constructive language, we keep the conversation open and collaborative. A helpful technique is to use I statements rather than you statements. For example, saying, "I feel concerned about the timeline," instead of "you're not managing the project well," shifts the focus to your perspective without placing blame. Another critical strategy is to find common ground, identifying shared goals, values, or outcomes that both parties agree on. By focusing on what you have in common, you create a sense of unity, reminding each other that you're on the same team, working toward a shared purpose. One great example of using constructive language to navigate conflict is IDEO, the global design company renowned for its culture of innovation. At IDEO, project teams are often composed of individuals with diverse skill sets and opinions. Conflict is not only expected, but welcomed as part of the creative process. IDEO's approach to problem solving emphasizes respectful, constructive language that allows team members to express differing ideas without judgment. During brainstorming sessions, IDEO's team members frame disagreements as opportunities to improve the project. Instead of using phrases like, "that idea won't work," they'll ask, "how might we approach this differently?" Or, "what if we explored another angle?" By framing feedback in constructive terms, IDEO keeps the conversation positive, ensuring that all ideas are heard and considered without shutting anyone down. This approach has been instrumental in fostering a collaborative culture where everyone feels valued. IDEO's example shows that constructive language isn't just polite, it's essential for open collaboration. When people feel safe to share ideas, even if they're unconventional, they contribute more fully to the discussion. Framing challenges as questions or reframing criticism as curiosity can turn potential conflicts into productive conversations. Small business, conflict resolution at Zingerman's Deli through shared goals. Host. For a small business perspective, Zingerman's Deli, a popular deli in Ann Arbor, Michigan, has a reputation not only for great food, but also for its strong culture of collaboration and respect. Zingerman's founders have instilled a philosophy of bottom-line change, where team members are encouraged to discuss challenges and opportunities openly. When conflicts arise, Zingerman's managers work with employees to identify common ground and shared objectives. For instance, if a conflict emerges over a new menu item or a change in service procedures, the team gathers to discuss the underlying goals. They might ask, "How does this change support our mission to provide exceptional customer service?" By focusing on the shared goal of customer satisfaction, they're able to reach a solution that honors both individual perspectives and the company's values. For smaller teams, try framing conflicts within the context of your shared mission. When disagreements arise, steer the conversation back to your collective goals, whether it's delivering exceptional service, maintaining quality, or supporting sustainability. Focusing on what you all agree on helps everyone feel connected, even during difficult discussions. Constructive language is all about staying focused on solutions rather than problems. When conflicts escalate, it's easy to slip into blame or make statements that feel personal, even unintentionally. By using constructive language, you can guide the conversation toward positive outcomes and avoid escalating tension. Try avoiding absolutes like always or never, as they can make the other person feel defensive. Instead, keep the focus on what needs to change or improve. For example, rather than saying, "You always miss deadlines," you could say, "I noticed the timeline was challenging on this project. How can we adjust it going forward?" Constructive language keeps the tone positive and future-focused, making it easier to resolve conflicts and move forward. At Amazon, the concept of disagree and commit is built into their culture. Amazon's leadership encourages employees to express differing viewpoints and even challenge decisions openly. However, once a decision is made, everyone is expected to fully commit to it. The key here is that disagreements are handled constructively. Amazon team members use language that focuses on solutions rather than blame. For example, during a strategy meeting, team members might have conflicting views on a new product launch. Instead of framing the disagreement as right or wrong, Amazon leaders encourage employees to voice their perspectives while keeping the conversation centered on Amazon's goals. Once a decision is reached, everyone moves forward with the plan, respecting the group's conclusion. This approach allows for open, solution-focused conflict and emphasizes a unified commitment to the company's mission. To implement disagree and commit in your team, encourage open discussion while framing disagreements around common goals. Once a decision is reached, make it clear that everyone's input was valued and that the next step is to commit to the shared decision. This practice fosters respect, accountability, and unity. A smaller business that effectively uses constructive language and common ground is Grayston Bakery, known for its social enterprise model and open hiring policy. At Grayston, employees come from diverse backgrounds and often have different perspectives on company decisions. Grayston's leadership promotes respectful language and collaboration, ensuring that all employees feel part of the decision-making process. When conflicts arise, leaders at Grayston bring the team together to discuss both the issues and the common values that everyone shares, such as inclusivity and quality. They encourage employees to use I statements to express their concerns without placing blame. By focusing on common ground, like Grayston's commitment to community and quality, they turn conflicts into opportunities for growth and unity. For small teams, creating a practice of collaborative problem-solving can be incredibly effective. During a disagreement, encourage team members to share their views using constructive, respectful language. Remind everyone of your shared values or mission to keep the conversation focused on solutions that work for everyone. Think of constructive language like playing a team sport. You're passing the ball, not throwing it at each other. By keeping the language positive and focused on solutions, you keep the game moving forward together. In summary, using constructive language and finding common ground can transform conflict from a divisive experience into a collaborative one. IDEO's respectful brainstorming, Zingerman's shared goal focus, Amazon's disagree and commit culture, and Grayston Bakery's inclusive collaboration all highlight the power of respectful, solution-focused communication. By framing conflicts as shared challenges and using positive language, we can create a work environment where everyone feels respected, valued, and motivated to contribute. Lastly, in this episode, we'll wrap up today's episode with actionable takeaways and strategies to help you navigate conflict constructively within your own team. Stick around as we conclude with practical steps for conflict resolution. All right, as we wrap up today's episode on navigating conflict, let's recap the key strategies we've discussed. Conflict is a natural part of any team environment, but when handled effectively, it can be a powerful catalyst for growth, innovation, and stronger relationships. By approaching conflict with intention and care, you can transform it into a constructive experience that brings your team closer and fosters a culture of open communication. So, a recap of key takeaways. 1. View conflict as a growth opportunity. Instead of avoiding conflict, embrace it as a chance to learn, innovate, and strengthen your team's bond. Pixar's Brain Trust meetings and Zingerman's open dialogue show us that by welcoming differing perspectives, we gain valuable insights and create better solutions. 2. Build a foundation of psychological safety. For conflict to be handled effectively, people need to feel safe speaking up. Netflix's Open Culture and Google's Project Aristotle have shown that psychological safety is crucial for open, honest communication. When people feel valued and respected, they're more likely to engage in difficult conversations constructively. 3. Approach conflict with empathy and curiosity. When conflict arises, lead with empathy and a desire to understand the other person's perspective. Microsoft's empathy-centered culture and Ben & Jerry's collaborative approach remind us that empathy helps keep discussions respectful and focused on finding solutions. 4. Use constructive language and find common ground. The language you use in conflict can either build bridges or create barriers. IDEO's constructive brainstorming and Amazon's disagree and commit culture demonstrate the value of framing conversations around shared goals and using non-blaming language to keep discussions positive and productive. If there's one thing to remember, it's that conflict is not something to be feared or avoided. It's an opportunity for growth. By using these strategies, viewing conflict as a learning opportunity, fostering psychological safety, approaching disagreements with empathy, and using constructive language, you can transform conflict into a positive experience that strengthens your team. Approaching conflict constructively creates a culture where people feel valued and empowered to share their ideas. Leaders who embrace this approach foster stronger, more engaged teams that work together to find solutions and overcome challenges. Remember, the goal in navigating conflict isn't to win the argument, it's to strengthen the relationship and improve the outcome. When we approach conflict with openness and respect, we turn it into an opportunity for collaboration. As the saying goes, great things never come from comfort zones. So embrace those tough conversations. They might just be the catalyst for your team's next big breakthrough. Think of conflict like a campfire. You can either fan the flames, or you can use it to warm up, cook marshmallows, and create something memorable. The way you handle conflict determines whether it heats things up or creates something positive. Now, I'd love to hear from you. How do you approach conflict in your own team? Have you found any strategies that help make difficult conversations more constructive? Share your thoughts in the comments or tag us on social media with #TheBusinessBookClub. Your experiences and insights might inspire others facing similar challenges. Thanks for tuning in to Leadership Unpacked. Next episode, we'll explore decision-making and risk management. If you're looking for practical strategies to guide your team through transitions and decisions, this will be a good listen for you. Until next time, keep leading with empathy, respect, and a commitment to growth. Thanks for joining us.